Hey everybody, welcome back for another memory keeping video. This time it's for the week of February 3rd through the 9th, and I used a kit called Fantasy Fan? Fantasy Reader. Don't actually remember. It's from Cinderella paper though. And I used this because this was the lead up to my husband's birthday, and I thought this kit matched him pretty well as the first full week of February. So I used all of that as well as a little bit of Pixie rose gold foil from Plana Hannah. So this was like a pretty busy work week, but then the weekend was quite busy. Oh, it's called Fantasy Day. I could finally read my little post-it there. But this weekend was really busy. We went out for my husband's birthday as well as his friend's birthday. So on Saturday, we drove down to Berkeley, met up with my sister for a little bit because she is going to school there right now. And honestly, the apartment that she's currently living in kind of has some of these gothic vibes. Like I walked into the lobby of her tiny apartment building and I was like, did this used to be a church? And she's like, I think it used to be like an old like house and then they subdivided it into apartments. I'm like, that makes sense. So that's kind of funny that this ended up matching that. That wasn't my intention. But we also went to kind of a late lunch, early dinner for my husband's birthday because he wanted to go to Angeline's in Berkeley, which is one of our favorite places. And that's really all he wanted to do for his birthday. That little kitten with the dragon wings reminds me so much of Clover. And this guy with the book sort of reminds me of my husband. And then the girls in the kit kind of remind me of me. I could have used this for my birthday too, or at least the week before my birthday, because as you will see in my May lineup, the week of my birthday, I am probably not going to use a kit for my birthday just because it's graduation season and there's gonna be a lot of graduations in my family this year. So I thought about saving this for myself, but I felt like this was kind of February vibes. So I love all of like the reading journals in the Monday and Wednesday boxes and the books and all of that. But yeah, that reminds me of Clover and my husband. And then I would die for this type of library in my own home. I don't know that I'm ever going to get something like this, but this very like living room, tall bookshelves, scenery would be amazing if I could find the space for that in a future home. But yeah, I'm rambling all over the place. It has been a while, or at least it feels like it's been a long time since I've talked to you all. I am recording this like the second week of April. And April and November are probably like the two busiest months of my life as far as work goes, which is unfortunate because April and November are like my favorite weather seasons in California. So I have ranted about this before, but I would totally rewrite the whole school calendar if I had the ability to and probably make it so that we had like April off because April is lovely. There's pollen everywhere, so that's a little bit of a difficulty I am realizing. But other than that, the weather's like absolutely perfect. So anyway, that's why I feel very out of practice is just I haven't had much time for YouTube lately, or at least for creating YouTube. I've been watching plenty of YouTube because I always have time for that to just kind of tune out and watch other people's stuff. But like this past week, I only like got up one video that I had filmed like weeks and weeks and weeks ago. So I'm just kind of getting back into the groove of things. But yeah, Saturday was basically celebrating my husband's birthday, which wasn't until the following Monday. But of course, we were both working that day. So we celebrated on Saturday. And then Sunday, we went out for my husband's friend's birthday by going to a drag brunch, which was my first drag brunch. And I like to say, especially as I'm getting older, I'm trying to like not say things aren't my thing until I've actually tried them. Like there's certain things I'm never going to try, probably. Like I'm probably never going to go skydiving or bungee jumping. I think that's just too much for me. But then there's other things where it's like there's literally no way I could die at them, so like might as well try it, right? And drag brunch was one of those things that like just hasn't been a priority for me. But I figured, okay, well, people are inviting me, I'll go. I wouldn't go back to the specific place that we went this day personally. And I don't think my husband really wants to either because he's been to a lot of other drag events before and like none of them were quite like this one. So yeah, we went to support our friend and celebrate our friend, but probably won't be going back to that specific place. And I do not say that to like denigrate drag at all. I know it's been a very hot topic, especially the last few years. I think if you enjoy it, whatever version of it you like, that's great. I just don't know that it's necessarily for me, but I didn't want to write it off as something that's for me because first of all it's not for me anyway. I'm a straight woman, if you do not know, so it's not really about me in the first place, so it's fine if it doesn't speak to me. fully, but also like I just wanted to go, celebrate our friend, but also like I don't like to say that I don't like things unless I've actually tried them. Do you know what I mean? That was a whole ramble, but hopefully this makes sense in post production. In the sidebar, I put in a habit tracker for flossing. I put in a leftover this week header I had from another kit to mark my dinners, and that's what the weekly sidebar is for. And then I put in a half box to mark something that I'm not going to talk about on camera, but I am going to put in a hang in there Molly from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. And then I love this stack of like mostly books and some video games in there, especially like the trilogy of the Lord of the Rings books and like the unicorn bookend. I thought that was gorgeous. So I had to include that in the sidebar since I had some space. I still have enough left over from this kit in order to do like a full week. Like I definitely have at least 7 or 8 full boxes left in variety. So I could use this again the week before my birthday. That would be the week of Mother's Day, I think. But I don't know, I'm very up in the air about what I'm using the first week of May. So we'll figure that out later. I used the Plana Hannah Pixie Rose overlay on the sidebar, and that's just like a floral design. I think it was one of her sister's PR freebies at some point. And what's funny about Plana Hannah is like for her PR freebies, I usually end up liking her sister's freebies, and I don't think her sister's actually even, I don't think she plans necessarily. I don't know for sure, but I really like the designs that she picks for her PR freebies. So I think that's really funny. I usually end up putting those codes for, I think her name's Haley, in the order. I did color block this week, which I very much enjoyed. I think I've color blocked most weeks so far in this planner. Yeah, I'm looking at it and it's looking like, I think I've color blocked pretty much every week. That's wild. This is like week 5 or 6 in this planner. I'm very behind, 2 months behind, but I'm not nearly as far behind as I was last year. So there we go. Getting into the daily plans. So Monday I marked that I slept poorly. So you're going to see a lot of Sweet Ava's paper stickers in here. I have a haul upcoming at some point where I placed a giant order with her because of her closing sale. So I marked that with Sweet Ava's paper. I marked teaching my classes with Sweet Ava's paper. And then I marked that today didn't suck, even though I got no sleep. So I don't know why. I still had energy even after not sleeping very well, but I did. So I just used a Molly from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. to mark that. And then I think this was the week of Laurel from Corks and Corgs Co.'s birthday. So I tried to pull in their quirky character from their shop as often as I could. I don't have a lot of that character because I think the only ones I have are like from freebies. But I did mark with a quirky, filming and editing some videos this day, and then it was raining this day, so I used a Molly from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. for that, and then I was watching Great British Bake Off, so I have another Molly for that. Tuesday, it was very rainy and very windy, so I marked that with, I think it's technically a hurricane season Molly from Itty Bitty Sticker Co., but I just like it for rain and wind. I think that was my last one on a sheet, so I'll probably need to reorder those. And then I used Sweet Ava's paper cat to mark grading reading responses because those had come in at this point. I did a workout, that sticker's from Wonton and a Million. I did a voiceover for a plan with me, so that is from Sweet Ava's paper. And then I watched more Great British Bake Off, so that is from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. And I simply adore the little kitten with her dragon wings. This Cinderella Papers version of this kit didn't have like the cute dragon plushie that was in the art, so that was one thing I missed, but other than that, I loved the art in this kit. Wednesday, I marked that it was sunny. I don't really know why I marked the sunny days. I don't generally, but I think I just didn't have a lot of things to mark this week because we were in the thick of the semester at this point. So that sticker is from Sweet Ava's paper. So is the chalkboard one to mark teaching my classes. And so is the one that I used right there to mark that I was exhausted but happy this day. I was in a good mood, at least the first part of this week. Then I used a Corky from Laurel's shop to mark wrapping my husband's birthday gift, which was an album. It was a vinyl of Billy String's Home, I think is the name of the album. So I got to wrap that. And then I watched more Great British Bake Off. So that is from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. Thursday, it rained again, so I have a Molly for that. My husband was working from home, so I have this cute paper clip cat from Sweet Ava's paper. I was lesson planning, so I have another Sweet Ava's paper sticker. And then I was grading really small assignments, I think. So again, that's from Sweet Ava's paper. Did another workout, so I'm gonna have another dumbbell sticker from One Ton in a Million. I was filming videos, so I'm gonna mark that with a Molly. And I'm also going to use another Molly to mark watching more Great British Bake Off. And then I'm going to use a Sweet Eva's Paper anxiety sticker to mark that I was anxious about a job application that I was trying to complete. It was going to be due in another week or so, so I really needed to get it done. So I was just worried about that on Thursday night because like on Fridays was when I was really setting aside time to work on the materials for that job application. So yeah, I would give myself anxiety on Thursday nights, but it's all done now. I heard back from one who they were moving forward with other applicants. I haven't heard from the other one, but I think they probably are in the interview stage at this point, if I'm being real. So I have a feeling I didn't get to the interview stage, but at least I tried. At least I did the application, which is more than I can say for last year. Friday, I marked that it was sunny again and that my husband worked from home, so the first two stickers are going to be from Sweet Eva's Paper. I washed our bedding, so I have a little foiled icon from that Plan a Hannah freebie, so it's in Pixie Rose. And then I was working on that cover letter that I was talking about, so I am going to mark that with a Beneva Creations girl who looks kind of disgruntled because job apps are exciting and yet very tedious, if you know what I mean. It's just like, I want the job, but the job app is what's getting in my way a lot of the time. Then I did some more grading, and then this was when the California State University made an announcement that they were going to become an AI-powered university, whatever that means. So I went on a whole rant about that. So I was not happy about that. So those two stickers are from Sweet Eva's Paper. I am not confident that students should be using AI, and I don't like the idea that like a university could potentially require professors, make students use AI. I think there's a lot of problems with AI, especially from a creative perspective. I don't think it's creating anything new personally, both in writing or in art. And I don't think students who are supposed to be learning the core skills, like they're in the learning stage. I don't understand why we're promoting them basically not building those skills in the first place. That's my perspective, and luckily professors have more academic freedom for now, but I don't really support the nonsense of like just using tools that are stealing from creators. And I don't like the idea that as an English major, I've always felt denigrated by people anyway, who don't value my work and who don't think I should be paid for my work. And I feel like with AI, we're just moving more in that direction. So I'm not happy about it. But moving on, I watched more Great British Bake Off on Friday night and painted my nails. Saturday, I submitted my full-time job application, so that's from Beneva Creations. Also, we do a lot of work in progressive English composition to teach students to value their voice and to incorporate their voice in writing. So I think AI erases a lot of that and makes everybody sound the same, which I don't think is very valuable. I think diversity is a strength. So that's another reason that I'm not a big fan of AI, is that I feel like it's just teaching people who we have been trying to empower more that their voice doesn't actually matter, because we should just like wash it down to make it all sound the same. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions about that. I talked about that really quickly just because we're on a time crunch here at the end of the video. But anyway, for the rest of Saturday, we stopped by Pure Grain Bakery, which is a wonderful German bakery local to us. That's from Corks and Corgs Co. We stopped in Berkeley and met my sister's roommate's foster cat. So I marked those with some mollies from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. We walked around with my sister she needed to get takeout or lunch or something, and my husband wanted to get a coffee, so that's from Sweet Eva's Paper. And then I used this Once More with Love like Mardi Gras sticker to mark going to Angeline's, because they were all decked out for Mardi Gras, even though Mardi Gras wasn't for like another month. After we came home from Berkeley, after a long drive home, we watched more of Interview with the Vampire, so that's from Sweet Eva's Paper. I played with Clover, so that is Molly from Itty Bitty Sticker Co. Sunday, I had cramps, unfortunately, and I was also very tired from walking around everywhere, so that's from Linner Designs. We went to the drag brunch, so I marked that with an icon from Plan a Hannah. My husband and I were a little uncomfortable after drag brunch, whatever. So I just marked that with a But Did You Die sticker and a Beneva Creations couple. Then I was filming and editing, and then my husband opened up his birthday gift, which was the record, the vinyl. So I don't have my vinyl stickers or my record player stickers at this point. I've ordered some from Quarks and Quarks Co. as well as Itty Bitty Sticker Co. So I'll fill that in later. And then watched more Great British Bake Off. So that is everything for this week. I know I talked through everything incredibly quickly, so hopefully I made sense. If you have any questions, concerns, arguments, opinions, whatever, leave them down below, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye.